Hi everyone, welcome back to CJD Networking. I'm Chris Stevie, and today we are going to be using Python scripting to run commands on your whole network estate and log the outputs to a CSV file. So first of all, we are going to install a module called Netmiko for Python. If you're familiar with Python, you'll be familiar with pip to install Netmiko. So run pip install Netmiko now and get that module on your system. Okay, so I've got it already, so I'm going to go straight into the Python editor and open up a new file and save it in my Netmiko directory I've already created here. So let's just call this test. And first of all, we're going to import Netmiko as our first command here, and now we're going to use it to connect to my test switch I have here. So we're going to import Netmiko, connect handler, and we'll put the IP address of my switch, so 192.168.1.250. We are going to use a device type of Cisco iOS. Now what the Cisco iOS device type does is clues on the name really, but the important thing is it uses SSH to connect to our Cisco devices. If we want Telnet, we can just put Cisco _ iOS Telnet and use that one to connect your Telnet devices. So now we will just put my username in. So username and my password. Password equals let me in. Nice and secure. So as I always make lots of mistakes in my typing, I'm going to test as I go along. So just run this. And as you can see, we've got an error already because I've spelt password wrong. So the next thing we're going to do is, once this is connected okay, is, which it has done, is just to run a command now on your switch and output the results to the shell here. So next command, we are going to create a string called hostname and run the connection.send command, and we are just going to do a show run and do a pipe with include hostname just to get the hostname back on our script, and now we'll display that hostname to our screen, hostname. So let's run this, and now we should hopefully have on the right here, once it's logged onto my switch, there we go, it's got the hostname of my switch. It also has output the word hostname as well here, just be aware of that. So next, what we're going to do now is put this into a short script to connect to a bunch of IP addresses from a CSV file rather than one device. We are then going to output it to a CSV file, which we can then read in a spreadsheet. So the next thing we are going to do is import a couple of more modules. And these modules will be for just a couple of other things that we need for our script. So the first one will be for importing the CSV file, and the next one will be import of the date and time. So if we get an error connecting to a device, we can then log it to an error log file. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to create a CSV file here called node IPs. So once we've created that file, we can then populate it with our IPs here. Any amount of IPs we want, we can just bung them in here. So 192.168.1.250 is my switch, so I'll just put this one in here, and we just need to now read that file. So what I'm going to do is do an f equals open, then I am going to do node IPs CSV. I'm going to read it only, so no read write, just read only, and I'm going to just do C equals F read lines. So now C contains the value of those IP addresses. So what we'll do now as well is we'll write a file to save our outputs to. So we'll do a write open, and we will do a native VLANs.csv, because in this scenario I'm going to be logging on to each network device, running a show interface trunk and outputting the results to a CSV file. So I'm going to be calling this native VLANs.csv. I am going to give it write permissions, and we want a new line for our outputs here, and we're going to save that as F as well. So we are going to write this command here is the write command we've created for our CSV writer, just to make it a bit easier. So all we now need to do is type the word write, and we can do write row, and first of all, we're going to put some column headers in that CSV file. So I'm going to put a host name, I'm going to put an IP address, and I'm going to put some trunks in too. So here we are. So we've got our first row, which has host name, it has our IP address, and it has our trunks column. So let's go and test that then. So let's run that. We can now see it's created a new file here called native VLANs.csv, and it has put in these three headers. So back to our script. We also have it outputting our hostname just to the screen, so we want to get this stuff into our spreadsheet as well. But first of all, before we come to that, we will need to create a loop to read our IP. So at the moment it's just connecting to our one IP address rather than reading the list from our node IP's CSV file. So what we'll do is do a loop for I in C, then we are going to just print to our screen node, then our node number, and then we want something like checking IP address, and then the IP address, which is we've got as I in our CSV file. I'm just going to do a node num equals node num plus 1 as well here. Node num equals node num. Sorry, let's do a node num equals 1, sorry. So we just given it a value first of all, otherwise it will complain. So we are going to try and connect via CSV. So let's put a try command in here. So we are going to try connecting by SSH, sorry. And if it fails to connect via SSH, we want to try Telnet as a backup. So what we can do is just push these down out of the way. What you can do, say, is try this, our connection string, and we want to just replace our IP address there with the I string. And if it fails, so if we get an error, we can just type in accept, and then we can get it to try something else. Try, and then we want to get this connection string again and try it again with Telnet. So Cisco iOS underscore Telnet. Now let's tell it to tell us that it is trying Telnet. So let's put in cannot connect via SSH trying Telnet. Okay, and then we want it to just give us an error if it can't connect via Telnet or SSH and log it for us. So we want to put an accept in, accept, and just say something like cannot connect via SSH or Telnet. Node may be down or not using standard credentials. Logging to error.log. You see, sometimes I use the double quotes, sometimes the single. It doesn't really matter. So let's just create another line here, and so as we log this, we want the time and date. So let's take the now string from the date and time import we did up there. So let's do a now equals str date time dot date time dot now, and then we just want to put it in a legible format. So let's do strf time, and then we want to do the year, then we want to display a month and the day, and let's do the same for the hours. Hours, then minutes, and then seconds. I think that should be okay. So I'm just noticing my errors as I look up. So we've got our now string, and then we've got our node num equals node num plus 1. So what this does is increases the node num count by 1 just for display purposes for this string here where we've got node num, so we can see where we are roughly in our output. Now we're going to log to the file. So log f equals open error.log, and we want to append to the existing log, not create a new one every time we write to it. So you can now write to this. So log f dot write now, and then we want to log f dot write the error message. So let's just put in something like cannot connect via SSH or Telnet 2, and then we just want the IP address. So we're going to do a log f dot write and put the I in, which stands for IP, and then close this log file off. And then if we do the command continue, it will then skip the rest of the script and go back to, it will try the next one in the loop of that file. So let's just see what it displays now, because I'm always making mistakes and just want to make sure it's okay as I go. So there we go, checking IP address 192.168.1.250, and it's got the host name, so there's no errors so far, which is good. There's no error log appeared, and native VLANs, we've still got nothing in here because we haven't written to this file yet. So all good so far. Let's carry on. So we've created our error log, and then we've got our host name here. Let's tab that across. Push that down a bit. So we've got our host name. Let's get our trunk as well. So let's do trunk connection dot send command, and then we can do a show interface trunk, and that should store the results of that in this trunk string. And then we can then now disconnect from that switch. So disconnection dot disconnect. Okay, so shall we print out the results of that? So if we now just we've got the print host name, we can do print trunk, and we can now write those results also to the file as well as the screen. So let's do a write now, and then we want in there host name. We'll put the IP address in there as well, and the trunk. We'll put a couple of screen carriage returns as well in here, just so it looks nice and pretty on the screen. And then we can just close this file loop off for the nodes IPs, and that should be it. Should be all done now. So let's see what happens. So we're checking our IP address, and as I say, we can put as many IPs in that file as we want. Okay, we've got an error message here, so the write now command here should actually be writer row, not write now. Run this. There we go. So we've got on the screen here our host name, the results of our show IP interface brief, which gives us our trunk interfaces and what native VLAN they belong to, and also we've got our VLANs allowed over that trunk. So that's our script done. We can have a look now in our native VLAN CSV file and see the output here. We can see that we've got our host names, we've got our IP address, and we've got our trunks. It just says ports here because that's the way CSV is formatted. Let's just do a little bit of formatting here to make it look nice. And there we go. So we have got all our details here we need. Just one quick thing to show you is the how the log works. So let's go into our node IPs. We're going to add another IP address here that doesn't exist on my network. So 192.168.1.251. So there's nothing there, so it's going to timeout and fail. So let's run this again. Okay, we need to make sure our native VLAN CSV is closed. And here we go. So 192.168.1.250 we know is up. We know it's going to get the information. Now it's going on to the next node. It still says node 1, so there's an issue there. It should display node 2. So what my node num is node num plus 1 there. Oh yeah, I need just to put a node num is node num plus 1 in the script here as well. So let's just put that in here. So after we've written out here, let's do a node num equals node num plus 1. And let's save that out. So on here you can see now on this second time when it's trying to go to the next IP, we have got an error here saying cannot connect via SSH or Telnet, node may be down or not using standard credentials, log into error.log. We can also see as well it tried Telnet as well as SSH. So let's go here. We can see now it's created an error log. We can see in here the date and time, and also cannot connect via SSH or Telnet to that IP. So there are a few more things as well you could do to this script to make it better, but this is a good start, showing you how to summarize, connect to a bunch of Cisco devices by an IP spreadsheet, connect via Telnet and SSH, create an error log for anything it cannot connect to, and then output the results of the commands to an Excel or a CSV file, which can be opened up in Excel or any other spreadsheet. So hope you guys enjoyed the video. Don't forget to like and join the channel, start following. Plenty more videos to come, and see you guys next time. Cheers.